What is up with sandbox games? Like seriously, this genre has so much potential and is so unique to video games, yet it seems like we get one big sandbox game a decade. But when those games hit, they break every record imaginable. So what if I told you there is a game on the horizon that could be the next big thing? A sandbox game that has the potential to define the rest of this decade or catastrophically flop? We'll get to that in a second. I'm not talking about games that just kind of have sandbox elements like Fallout 4, Project Zomboid or City Skylines. I'm talking about the stuff that actually gives players full creative freedom. Those games go beyond just a digital toy and they become more of a platform for people to hop on and create their own fun. Nowadays, when a new game is marketed as sandbox, it is most likely more focused on exploration rather than creation. Minecraft came out in 2009, formally released in 2011, and till this day it is an absolute juggernaut, making billions of dollars, and it is just as, if not more relevant than 15 years ago. And the reason why is because this game was made for players to entertain themselves. You can play survival mode and have a good time with friends, just building stuff and farming resources. You can play creative mode and build insane structures and worlds. You can download mods, and there are thousands of them because of how easy it is to implement community-made modifications into Minecraft, and they can completely change the way you play this game. You can turn it into an action RPG with bosses and progression, or make it into an engineer's wet dream. Maybe you don't want to mess with modifications. Well, there are community-made servers with dozens of different creative game modes that you can sink hundreds of hours into. Minecraft is more than just a game. As I said, it's a platform for players' creativity to shine. That's what made it so successful. Let's take a look at another example, released in 2006, Garry's Mod. Gmod is essentially just a modification for the source game engine created by Gary Newman, and this is another game that gives players zero objectives. There is no set goal, no finish line, just a playground for you to fuck around and have fun. Gmod was made with community input in mind. Sharing your creations with others is extremely easy because the Sim Workshop is directly integrated into the game, and it gave us so many incredible memories. Messing around with ragdolls in Sandbox, playing prop hunt with your friends, losing an entire week on a role-playing server. Garry's Mod is another game that was made to be timeless, and it stood the test of time. It's just as good as nearly 2 decades ago. Now let's talk about The Boogeyman, a game that took the world by storm, and it's of course Roblox. Roblox is not a game, it's a game platform, basically just a system for people to create games. So yes, technically it's not a sandbox game, but I still want to mention it in this video. Roblox actually came out back in 2006, crazy to think about considering that the game blew up in the late 2010s and 2020s, mostly because of the pandemic. I think a game this old getting so much traction in our modern times just shows how much demand there is for this type of stuff, a platform that is really easy to just download and hop on to play thousands of community-made games. And even though those games are usually quite simple and bare bones, it doesn't stop people from enjoying it and feeling like a part of community, sharing their favorite games and outfits in Dress to Impress, I guess. Roblox player base, as you all know, mostly consists of kids, but there is a ton of adults playing this game too, and a decent chunk of them are fucking groomers and other weirdos. I think the fact that Roblox is so accessible and simple to play is awesome, but they definitely don't put enough effort into making this game a safe environment for kids. Now, I can't say that this is completely in company's control. When your game is that popular, it can be hard to manage, and I think a lot of parents who lack awareness when it comes to online stuff could also do better. If your kid has internet access, you should definitely have a strict control of what they're doing out there up to a certain age. But I also can't help but think that there should be a better way to deal with this sort of stuff on Roblox Corporation side, because some of the stories that came out of this game are absolutely horrible, and that should never happen in a game catered towards kids. I've been thinking about it, and hear me out. I think a lot of games nowadays are too accessible. Roblox is available on any fucking platform, it is free to play, and any kid can just go to Play Market and download the app, and now they're in this very predatory environment. It's really easy to make burner accounts and just do whatever you want in this game without any repercussions. And don't even get me started on monetization system, man. Introducing financially irresponsible kids to a virtual economy just doesn't sound like a good fucking idea. Over the last few years, I've started to hate the free-to-play format. I think purchasing a game and not dealing with microtransaction bullshit and paywalled content is just superior. It does make games less accessible to a wider audience, but I don't think it's a bad thing. When a kid has to ask their parents for money to buy a game, it's way more likely parents are going to ask questions like, oh, what is that game about? Is it okay to buy our kid this product? As opposed to children just consuming random bullshit on their iPad. Unfortunately, it's unlikely that we will see anything like that because the current meta is releasing free games. Corporations just get more money out of that, and that's where we at the moment, unfortunately. I do find Roblox an interesting idea, a platform made specifically for people to make their own games in a way more simple way compared to an actual game development process. But it has a bunch of problems, and ultimately I'm not that interested in a game that looks like that. I'm sorry, but I do wish we could get something similar to that, but more polished, better looking, and just overall better put together, and not oriented towards little kids preferably. And that leads to the game platform I really wanted to talk about, because it does look exactly like something I wanted, but if you dig deeper it's not that simple, and this might potentially turn out to be a disaster. The game is called Sandbox, or simply Sandbox, and it's developed by Facepunch Studio, same studio that developed Garry's Mod and Rust. And yes, I'm gonna be referring to it as a game even though it's a game platform, because it's easier and their website is literally called sandbox.game, okay? Sandbox was first mentioned by Gary Newman, the creator of Garry's Mod, back in 2015, and in 2017 it was revealed as an early prototype. So as you noticed, this game has been in the works for almost a decade now, and you might wonder why the fuck it's taking them that long. Well, great question that I could only partially answer. The most likely thing is that they decided to switch the engine just a couple years ago, going from Unreal Engine to Source 2, and it's not like Source 2 was a very stable engine when it was just released. When I initially heard of Sandbox, I got very excited, since people were calling it a spiritual successor of Garry's Mod, and I love Garry's Mod, so this game should be my dream, right? Well, reading up a lot of stuff on it recently, I got quite a bit confused because I no longer understand what Sandbox is even supposed to be. Initially, I thought it would be a combination of Garry's Mod and Roblox, easy to create and share your own stuff and just play casually and have fun. However, a lot of people say that Sandbox is more of a serious game development environment than anything else. But then again, I've seen people say that it doesn't make sense to use this over some other established game development platforms. They also say that even though this has been in development for years, core game mods like the classic Sandbox are quite underwhelming. Overall, people in the community seem very split on this. Some people are very excited about what this game might potentially be, and some are very skeptical due to developers moving away from what made Garry's Mod a great game. But the overall consensus seems to be that Sandbox is not ready for release. The engine is so far from release, it's kinda funny that they plan to release in 2026, maybe 2028 it feels. I do understand that this game is currently in development preview build. It's not officially released yet, even though you can fairly easy play it right now if you go to their website and log in with your Steam account. But it is an early access. Even considering what we have on our hands now, what is the goal behind this game? It's not trying to be an updated version of Garry's Mod with better graphics and a new engine, and it isn't trying to give you that simplicity of creating games in Roblox, because to me it seems like they are doubling down on the whole game development side of things. On their website they even say that you will have the ability to post games you made in Sandbox as standalone products on Steam, completely royalty free. But why would developers choose Sandbox specifically to make their games? Would it be able to replace Roblox? Can it compete with Unity or Unreal Engine? Cause that seems like quite an ambitious goal. Well, okay, enough hypothetical talk. Let's actually take a look at what Sandbox is like in its current state. When you log into the game, you see whatever the fuck this is. Apparently Facepunch decided to go with a sausage man game model, but from what I've seen, people hated this shit so much they actually decided to add a regular human model. Here you can customize your character however you like. Options are quite limited now, but it makes sense for an early access. And now would be a good time to talk about monetization. The game itself, from what we know, is most likely not going to be free to play. Just like Garry's Mod, it is going to be $15 to $20, very reasonable price, and I previously talked about how much I don't like free to play, so that's good. There is a catch, however. The game is going to have its own marketplace, just like CS or Rust. In this game, it is also for cosmetic items. Gary said that they want Sandbox to become self-sustained in the future, so that people could get their stuff monetized, and I don't know how I feel about that. I like the whole play fund thing, where developers get money for people playing their games. Selling assets, however, I don't know how that's gonna go. A big part of Garry's Mod that I like is sharing add-ons. You could log into someone else's server and see many familiar add-ons for guns or player models, and I think creating marketplace is once again making this less and less like Garry's Mod, and more like a platform strictly for people interested in game development. But I'm still not entirely sure how the system is going to work, and again, the whole thing might be completely changed on release. The actual classic Sandbox game mode is in the game, and for now it's, let's just say, very underbaked. It's basically the same as in Garry's Mod, but with way less stuff in it, which is fine. The game is not ready yet, but Facepunch said that release date is scheduled on early 2026, and I personally don't think it looks like this mode could be fleshed out in just a couple months. But whatever, Sandbox is more than just the same stuff, so let's take a look at what other games are available to play. I played a bunch of different games, and honestly I feel like it's way too early to tell. Developers are still fidgeting with Sandbox as a platform to make games, so a lot of them are very simple so far, like Tetris or Crossy Roads or Pool. All of those games you could play on your phone. That's not to say that there is nothing promising in those games. I think a lot of them look quite cool and they feel nice and responsive to play. Animations are very pretty. There's this one game that made me quite impressed called Dark Descent. It has those nostalgic graphics and plays like a dungeon crawler with very slow and heavy feeling movement. It's quite cool. There's also this cartoonish version of Call of Duty Zombies. Nothing really new, but once again it shows just how much you can do with this platform. There is certainly something to this project. To me it seems ambitious and promising in some ways, but when you look at it from different angles, it could also end up being a flop. And I hope that's not the case, because I'm always down to get something groundbreaking in the video game space, but only time will tell. Ultimately, even though I am a bit excited about Sandbox, it's not quite the game I want. I'm not a game developer and I've never really been interested in making my own games, but some of my favorite memories in gaming is creating something to share with my friends in a very intuitive and playful environment. I probably spent over 1,000 hours just making maps in Minecraft using mods for my friend to play and playing on maps that he made for me. Or playing the movies and completely ignoring the whole economic tycoon part of it just to make stuff in the movie maker mode out of pre-made scenes. Garry's Mod is also one of those games, just playing Sandbox and goofing around, doing anything you want, coming up with your own scenarios and adventures. That's exactly the type of stuff that I love so much about Sandbox games, but it seems like we are not getting anything new and revolutionary in that space. I'm sure Sandbox by Facepunch might be fun, but will it be able to fill the void? Anyway, make the movies too.